It's match day, it's Everton against West Ham United, and I am not looking forward to today's game. But before we get into it, I've got a random fact for you. Despite today being 15th against 16th in the Premier League, both clubs, points-wise, are closer to a Champions League spot than they are the relegation zone. What an absolute wild season this is in regards to the European race. I think it says as much about the three promoted clubs and how crap they are as it does about the actual European race itself. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm still rooting for the likes of Nottingham Forest. Hopefully they do it. But this afternoon, my attention is firmly on Goodison Park. And I think it's a bigger game for Everton than it is West Ham. And it's got nothing to do with the David Moyes thing. It's because of the Goodison Park thing. Only 5 home games left. And this is where, as fans, their match day rituals will start to go out the window a little bit. They'll be getting to the pub 2-3 hours earlier than they usually would. They'd be going into the ground 5-10 minutes earlier, leaving 5-10 minutes later, picking up that extra programme. I remember what it was like towards the end of the Bowling Ground, and it's sad but excitement at the same time intertwined. It's a very weird feeling. And if I could go back and change one thing, it would be that I went into the ground half an hour earlier and left 15 minutes later after full time, and I just appreciated it a little bit more, because it was like, oh well, we've still got the next game, so you just go about your normal business, and then it isn't until the last day you're like, oh, that's it, it's finished. So I don't think I appreciated the end of the Bowling Ground enough, if that makes sense. I didn't take advantage of that time, so hopefully Everton fans do. But huge game. Goodison Park will be rocking for that reason. I've seen a few comments from Everton fans, some flying over from America and they've not got a ticket for the game, some flying over and they've paid a 4-figure sum of money for a ticket for the game. And that's what happens now. People just go for the pre-match atmosphere, etc., and get in and around it at Liverpool, go have a look at, the Bradley Moore Docks Stadium and whatever. Big occasion for Everton fans between now and the end of the season. I think that's what we'll play into today, by the way. I think the atmosphere will be electric, and it's got nothing to do with Everton v West Ham or David Moyes or 15th versus 16th. Nothing. Purely down to the stadium of Goodison Park as well. And it's also strange for the West Ham fans going there. I like Goodison Park. It's one of my favourite grounds. Anyway, turning my attention to the game, I want to see a reaction. I'm not looking forward to today's game, and there's various different contributing factors to that. And the biggest one is actually the performance against Newcastle and how poor we were. And I want to see a reaction from the players, but I also want to see one from Graham Potter as well. And I want to see changes. And I think we'll see them. How many? I don't think it'll be loads. I think he'll tweak it rather than rip it up and start again. So my predicted 11 that I think Graham Potter will play will remain Areola in goal. I think he'll keep the same formation because we have been good away from home. Under Potter, we've been better away than we have been at home. So I think he'll keep his back three of Tadebo, who in his press conference, Graham Potter suggested he's going to be able to play more minutes and it's closer to the 90 than the 60 this time round, hopefully. Kilman will still be in there. I think he'll stick with Cresswell, and he should. Cresswell's done nothing wrong. Now, I do have concerns over this one, and that is I think Moyes may target Aaron Cresswell. So far, I've been surprised at the lack of opponents trying to pick on him, bully him, essentially. Whether that's getting, your tall striker up against him and beating him in the air because he's not tall, and B, weak in the air, I think. But also the lack of opponents that has tried to expose him for his lack of pace. Now, the way we play helps him. I think we've sort of protected that weakness in Aaron Cresswell. But I'm still surprised at the lack of managers has gone for it with Cresswell. I think Moyes might, because Moyes will know Cresswell's weaknesses. But not only that, at the end of Moyes' tenure, he didn't prefer Aaron Cresswell. And I understand why, but there's a reason for it, and Moyes will be fully aware of those reasons. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Beto peeling away from Kilman today and trying to go one-on-one with Cresswell, and that's where we've got to be a little bit savvy. I'm a bit concerned about that, and if Moyes sort of manages to take advantage of it. Wan-Bissaka, right wing back. Left wing back, I think he'll make a change. I think he might bring Emerson in for all his scars. I think Scars has done fine in the last couple of games, but That's all. And that's not a bad thing. For those that don't watch the player ratings, I'm okay with Scarles being okay between now and the end of the season. It's about picking up experience, it's about learning. The best way to do that is being out on the football pitch, and there'll be aspects of his game he's improving on that just isn't obvious to people like me who, well, we're just an average fan on a webcam. I'm not going to notice the nuances in his positioning, etc. He will be improving elements of his game that I just don't notice because he doesn't have the ball. So out of possession, etc. But I think he might just go with Emerson because Scar's had a couple of starts now. Emerson's still a senior player. I think it'll be a morale thing as much as anything. So I think he'll come in. Obviously, you'll keep Bowen and Goodison. So then it's that midfield three, which is, well, who are you taking out? And I don't think Ward-Prowse will come out. I think Ward-Prowse will be the first name on the team sheet out of those three. And again, so he should be. I think he's played well under Graham Potter. I think his role is a bit boring, which is, sit in front of the back three, pick the ball up from them, distribute it, protect the back three. Defensively, we've been all right. We've conceded one in the last three, so hence why I don't think he'll make too much changes to that aspect of the team. It's the creativity that's lacking. I don't think that's James Ward-Prowse's responsibility. Now, he could do better in terms of moving the ball forward and giving it to the more attacking players, certainly. But I think Potter will be happy with what Ward-Prowse has produced so far. And I have been as well, to be honest with you. So I think he'll start. So it's a case of Souček versus Alvarez. Which one will Potter play and which one will he drop? Because I think he drops one of them. And I think he brings Paqueta in. I don't think he'll start Ferguson. Listening to his comments in the pre-match press conference, he said, oh yeah, this is where we expected with Ferguson. He's kind of got to say that. Anything else is a bit worrying. If he said, oh yeah, we expect him to be much better than this, he's rubbish. So when he said, this is what we expected, fitness-wise, it's what we expected, I think he's saying all the right things. I think it's just that. I think it's a PR game to some extent. But there was nothing to indicate that Ferguson's going to start, and I don't think he will. And Füllkrug, he also suggested, is more post-international break rather than now, which is a shame. I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing Füllkrug, not today per se, but just coming back. I still rate him. I rated him when we signed him, and I still do rate him, and I want to see him get a crack under Potter before the end of the season for two reasons. A, we either play him and keep him next season, or B, we play him and sell him. So regardless of which one we're going to do, he needs to be playing. What we can't do is C, which is don't play him, then try and sell him. We cannot do that. That's the worst option out of the three. So I'm looking forward to seeing him come back. I think he'll do well. He looked good, albeit for 16 minutes in Graham Potter's first game. But for this one, I think it'll be Paqueta that comes in. I think Paqueta will play striker, by the way, and Bowen and Kudus will drop back behind him. And I think he'll drop Alvarez. I think Souček retains his position next to James Ward-Prowse. And I think Alvarez, because Alvarez was, in my opinion, was the more advanced of the three against Newcastle. So therefore, I think Potter will see it as taking out the attacking midfielder of the three and replacing him with someone more attacking to bring that to the team. Because we need it. We need changes today. But that's my two predicted changes. Not what I want to see, what I think he will do. Paqueta and Emerson in for Scarles and Alvarez. We'll find out at 1:45 if I'm correct or not, and we'll be live at 1:55 with the build-up show, so hopefully you can come and join me. But another reason I'm not looking forward to this game, it's the Moyes thing. Now, I found it very easy to avoid. Since Moyes is gone, I found it very, very easy to stay away from. I found it very easy not to do videos about it. I found it very easy to just focus on West Ham. It was easy. I've enjoyed his media appearances post West Ham. I think he's been very respectful to the club. Still has been. His pre-match press conference for this one, I think he was quite emotional, actually. He was just saying, I can't remember what his words were, but he suggested it's going to be a bit weird being manager against West Ham and how he really enjoyed his time here, etc. He's very, very respectful to us, even though, in his words, we offered him a contract and we rescinded that contract offer as well. So I would understand if he had to hump a little bit, if he wasn't too keen on or wasn't happy with the way that, because he obviously feels he should have been rewarded with a better contract in terms of control, not financially, and he didn't get it, and that's why he didn't sign it, and then he ended up leaving. So I could understand if there was a little bit of spite there from him, but it doesn't come across. He might have it, he's just hiding it really well, and he's doing a bit of a Potter PR game. But I don't think so, because Moyes has never been against speaking out in the past. You go back to the game, was it Crystal Palace at home when Ben Rama came off and the substitution got booed, and then after the game, Moyes said there's a lot of experts out there. He doesn't mind calling people out or calling things out, so I think he would. Why wouldn't he? He's at Everton now. Why would he not be happy to call West Ham out? I think that, when he first left, he left the door open to coming back a third time, but I think that door's shut now from both parties. He should be. He's at Everton. He's got a good gig. Right man, right club, right time. That's playing its part, because I think some people have gone too far since he's left, and this is both aspects. I think there's some, let's call it pro-Moyes and anti-Moyes. I think both sides of it have gone too far with the David Moyes debate, but it's impossible to ignore for this one. I'm personally, as I said in preview, I wish him well at Everton. Well, I hope he does well. He is doing well, but I hope he continues to do well. I'm actually grateful for what he did at West Ham, and I enjoyed a lot. The first couple of seasons, I thought the football was brilliant. The last couple of seasons, football wasn't very good. But within there, we won a European trophy. Absolutely loved it. One of the best things I've experienced. And it's a bit sad that one of the best things I've experienced in my life is watching West Ham win a trophy. There's other things as well, non-football, but it's up there. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It's maybe a bit, like I said, might be a bit, some people listening to pathetic, but I don't care. I absolutely loved it. I'll always remember that night, and he was largely responsible for it. So I've got a bit of gratitude towards him for that. I'm actually more angry. I've got more negative feelings towards the Lopetegui reign than I do the David Moyes one. The Moyes one, there was good elements of it, and I feel when he went, the squad needed worked on, but I don't think the club was in a bad position. But I think when Lopetegui left, I think the club was in a bad position, not just league-wise, I mean just overall. We're away to see it in the summer, how much work needs done. I've got far more frustration and anger and disappointment and just negative feelings as a whole towards how West Ham acted post David Moyes than I did whilst David Moyes was here. And that's my truth. I'm not saying you have to agree. That's your truth, but that is my truth. So for this one, I find it easy to ignore. Well, up until now, I found it easy to ignore the David Moyes thing, but it is a topic now. It's the David Moyes derby, essentially, because I know those pundits will be ready. They'll be sharpening their knives. Here's the thing. I think there'll be a lot of pundits who are neutral. They have no loyalty towards Everton or West Ham. I think they'll have an aspect of loyalty towards David Moyes, but also towards their own opinion, which was West Ham shouldn't have got rid of him. And that part's okay, by the way. But I think they'll be looking at this game as a way of validating that opinion that they once had, which is if Everton win today, they'll be, I told you so. I get it. I'm just not going to enjoy it, really, for the reasons that Gonza said, which is I think they remove all the contributing factors and say, well, if you pick Moyes up and put him to West Ham today, ta-da, but we didn't have that David Moyes at the end. I agree with that. But like I said in preview, I think if Moyes had stayed, even with his current crop of people, with Kevin Nolan, with Heitinga, with the ones he had at the end, if they remained, I think we'd be in a better position now than we are where we are because of Lopetegui. Don't think we'd be 16. I think we'd be higher up the league table. I'm not saying the football would be any better. I'm saying the results would have been better. Also, I think we might have spent the money a bit better as well, that 130 million. The team that played Newcastle, only 3 started. Out all the new signings, only 3 of them started, and one of them we haven't even paid for yet in Tadipo. But I will offset that and say if Somerville was available, he would start. By the way, I thought Graham Potter handled that really well in the press conference when he was asked about Somerville's injury, and he said, it's private, it should be allowed to keep private. Completely agree. I don't like how that was leaked. That stuff to me should not be leaked. I don't like it when it comes out Somerville's refusing surgery, and it's such a it's worded as if it's a stick to beat Somerville with. So look at this bad boy. We want him to have surgery. He won't have it. Blame him. He should be getting surgery. I dislike it. I feel like it's sort of controlling the narrative, but I don't even feel like the narrative was there to be controlled. You could have just said, he's injured, we don't know when he'll be back yet. Graham Potter did it. He'll be back after the international break. He didn't say when. Could be May, could be August. He did not specify immediately back or anything like that. I thought Potter handled it really well, and I think he was really right, which was it's a private thing and a player should be able to deal with this privately. So I was disappointed that this was leaked by a certain someone at the club. I don't mind certain things being leaked, but there's a line, and I think that sometimes we cross it as a football club, and contract offers are one of those things, when it comes out that we've offered, and it's usually the younger players, we've offered, this player so much money and they've rejected it, money grabber, agent, blah, blah, blah. I think that, whoa, too far. Keep that in-house, please. You can say that he's rejected a contract. That's all you have to say. What you don't need to do is leak the finer details. Over the years, we know exactly what Declan Rice has been offered by the club. We know exactly what other youngsters have been offered, and they don't like it. They do not like it. I know one or two people who are not very happy with how the club have dealt with their contract offers. Not so much a contract offer, but the fact that it came out there, then fans go, you should be accepting that. It's plenty of money. The club know exactly what they're doing when they leak that information, and I think they've done it again with Somerville. The club know exactly what they're doing by putting out there, Somerville has refused to have a surgery. No, Somerville would prefer to try and allow it to heal naturally. He's 23 years old. I think he's done the right thing. Anyway, didn't realise I was going to be ranting about that one. I'm going to disappear. I was going to do a combined 11 again, but I think I'll leave it. It's a little bit of fun, but I've got on my screen actually, rather than doing the graphics, I'll rattle through it. Pickford, Wan-Bissaka, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Michaelenko. This is based on today, right? Players available today. Skulls, good player, but Michaelenko, an established player. Ward-Prowse and Garner, it's not the best central midfielders. It's Bowen, Paqueta, Kudus. Endai if he's fit, but he's not. And I don't rate Lindstrom, don't rate Decore that much, and I don't rate Harrison. I appreciate that's going to come back and bite me in the arse. It's my opinion. And then Beto up front. Anyway, there you go. That's my thoughts ahead of today's Champions League showdown. Joke for legal reasons. Joke. We're live at 1:55. You're going to the game today. Enjoy it. I hope you really do enjoy it. Last time you'll ever be going to that stadium, assuming you're a West Ham fan. But if you're not, please come and join us on this channel. We're live at 1:55. We'll see what Potter's done. But like I said, prediction 2 changes. Like the video, subscribe. Catch you in a bit.